Two Texas cities, barely 80 miles apart, are hurtling toward each other, set to fuse into a mega city larger than Chicago by 2050. 3 million new residents will arrive before 2030 as the Interstate 35 corridor devours family farms, triggers a billion-dollar land grab, and drains a vital aquifer already nearing collapse. Is anyone in Austin, San Antonio, or Dallas ready for what happens when the water truly runs out? Texas is not just growing, it is accelerating. Inside the Texas Triangle, anchored by Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, the population has surged from about 18 million in 2015 to well over 20 million today. State demographers project the region could surpass 22 million by 2025, and by 2050, the Triangle may approach or even exceed 35 million people, depending on migration trends. That's nearly double the population in just a single generation. Along the Interstate 35 corridor, the pace is even more intense. The once distinct cities of Austin and San Antonio are now separated by a ribbon of non-stop development. What used to be 80 miles of farmland and oak-covered hills is filling in with subdivisions, warehouses, and shopping centers. Planners and economists now describe this stretch, from Georgetown through San Marcos to the outskirts of San Antonio, as a single, sprawling urban zone. By 2040, the combined Austin and San Antonio metro area is expected to house more than 6 million residents. By 2050, it could rival the size of Chicago, with projections of 8.3 million people living in the corridor. 3 million new residents are expected to arrive in the Triangle by 2030, many settling directly along Interstate 35. Every year, thousands of acres of farmland are converted to housing and commercial use. The space between towns is vanishing, replaced by a continuous chain of communities. The numbers are clear. Texas is building a mega city, and the land beneath it is changing faster than at any point in its history. The Interstate 35 Capital Express project cuts a new path through Central Texas at a cost of roughly $4.5 billion. Along the 8-mile stretch through Austin alone, more than 100 parcels, including homes, small businesses, and farms, are on the list for right-of-way acquisition. Each property represents a family, a business, or a legacy that will be uprooted, often with little warning. For the Texas Department of Transportation, the justification is clear: safety and mobility. Agency documents cite traffic congestion, accident rates, and the need for faster emergency response as reasons for the expansion. Plans call for additional managed lanes, reconstructed interchanges, and a wider highway footprint, all requiring more land than the current corridor allows. The process begins with surveyors marking boundaries, followed by formal offer letters based on appraisals. If owners refuse, the state files condemnation lawsuits, and a panel of special commissioners determines compensation. For many, the numbers on those offer letters fall short of what the land means, especially for those whose property has been in the family for generations. Some parcels are reduced to slivers. Others disappear entirely beneath new concrete and overpasses. The official maps, stamped and color-coded, trace the arc of the expansion, parcel by parcel. Each line on the map is a future construction site, a driveway lost, a business relocated, a farm divided. Safety and economic growth headline the public meetings, but the fine print in acquisition documents tells another story. The Interstate 35 expansion is not just a highway project. It is a machine that converts land into infrastructure, one property at a time. Beneath the limestone hills of Central Texas, the Edwards Aquifer stretches out as the region's lifeline. It supplies drinking water to about 1.7 million people, families in San Antonio, fast-growing suburbs, farms, and entire towns that have come to depend on its hidden flow. But the numbers show a ceiling that cannot be ignored. The Texas Water Development Board projects that municipal water use in this corridor will rise by 63% by 2070, while agricultural demand is expected to fall by 20%. For the first time, city water needs are on track to overtake those of farming within a generation. Hydrogeologists warn that the Edwards is not an unlimited reservoir. Its recharge depends on rainfall and the ability of open land to absorb water, conditions that are changing as more fields become subdivisions and highways. The system is already showing signs of stress. Monitoring wells operated by the Edwards Aquifer Authority track water levels that fluctuate with every major drought and surge in pumping. When levels drop, springs that once flowed year-round, like San Pedro and San Antonio Springs, run dry. Each new subdivision, each mile of added pavement, pushes demand higher while shrinking the area that can replenish the aquifer. As one hydrogeologist puts it, we are living on borrowed water. The aquifer can only give so much before the wells start to go dry. The numbers are not just projections, they are limits set by geology and climate. With millions more people expected to arrive, the question is not whether the aquifer will be strained, but how soon the ceiling will be reached. The fight for water is no longer just a rural problem. It is a crisis for every community along the I-35 corridor. On a small farm just outside San Marcos, the rows of corn and hay once stretched to the horizon. But the future of that land changed the day a letter arrived from the Edwards Aquifer Authority. Under the Edwards Aquifer Authority permit system, water rights are not just a lifeline, they are a commodity. Permits can be bought, sold, or leased, and in recent years, cities have become the highest bidders. For families like the Garzas, whose irrigation permit had been in the family for 3 generations, the choice was stark: hold on and risk going under in another drought, or sell the rights to a city utility eager to lock in supply for thousands of new homes. In 2022, the Garzas agreed to transfer their permit, enough water for more than 100 acres of crops, permanently to a municipal buyer. The city's offer outpaced what the farm could ever earn from another harvest. Under Edwards Aquifer Authority rules, once an irrigation permit is converted to municipal use, the water follows the city permanently. There is no mechanism for a family to reclaim those rights. The land remains, but without water, fields go fallow and equipment sits idle. The Garza story is not unique. Across the corridor, permit transfers are accelerating as cities outbid agriculture, reshaping the landscape one contract at a time. Each transaction is final. For families who sell, there is no going back, no way to revive the farm if the city's pipes run dry. The water and the future it once promised is gone for good. Once the state decides a property is needed for the Interstate 35 expansion, the clock starts ticking. Owners receive a written offer based on a state-ordered appraisal, and they have 30 days to respond. If they refuse, the Texas Department of Transportation files a condemnation lawsuit in county court. 3 special commissioners, local landowners appointed by the judge, hold a hearing and set an award amount. The state can take possession as soon as it deposits that sum with the court, even if the owner objects and the case drags on. Attorney Luke Ellis, who represents landowners along Interstate 35, describes the process as a race against time. He says, the final offer is usually the same as the first. If you want more, you have to fight for it. In one case, a 28-acre parcel was condemned for a rest stop. The initial offer fell far short of what the land and its groundwater access were worth. Only after years in court did the family see a higher verdict, but by then, the land was already gone. Main Street in New Braunfels once echoed with the rhythms of a small German farming town. Today, the city has swelled by 50% since 2010, its fields now shadowed by subdivisions and chain stores. Cedar Park tells a similar story. What was a community of just over 5,000 in 1990 now counts more than 77,000 residents. These are not isolated cases along the Interstate 35 corridor. The familiar patterns of rural life are vanishing. Family-run feed stores stand beside new gas stations, and the old town squares compete with sprawling retail. Generations who grew up tending land now watch as their hometowns are absorbed into the endless metroplex. In the rush to accommodate growth, the sense of place that once defined these towns is slipping away, replaced by a landscape where the past is paved over, and the future arrives on a moving van. Every acre lost to concrete is a choice, one that shapes who controls water, land, and Texas identity. Today, the aquifer falls while cities rise. The battle isn't just over growth, but who gets to belong. The future of Texas is still being written on soil and in law.